I was excessive with everything. Sex, food, drama, drugs, and a couple of times I took so much E, which is the drug ecstasy, I don't know anything about that, I actually thought I was going to die. These are the words of a performer who not only didn't die, but rebounded both professionally and personally, Boy George. Welcome to the show, George.
Hello.
Look at the cover of the book, folks. It says now, this says Boy Man. That's on purpose, obviously.
Well, I guess it must have been the publishers in America that did that, because it originally just had the title of the book, but they changed it. It's quite clever, though, I suppose.
Yeah, it's interesting because people see you sometimes as somewhere between a boy and a man. Do you ever see
Or a
yourself?
boy and a girl.
Oh, well, a boy and a girl, obviously. When did you first decide that you might be a girl? I mean, decided to act like a girl or dress up or make up like a girl?
I don't think I do act like a girl. I
You
think
don't?
I kind of enjoy blurring the boundaries. I don't believe in any of those kind of rigid limitations.
You are gay, though.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Are you happy about that?
Yeah.
Are
Shouldn't
you?
I be?
No, I'm just saying. I'm just curious. I mean, does that make one happy? People use the word gay as if, gay when I was growing up was a happy person.
Well, I think that being gay is a kind of cross of sorts in our society, but I think at this stage in my life I am very secure, comfortable with my sexuality, comfortable with my life in general. Probably when I was 17 or 16 or younger, I would have answered differently, but now I feel much more content.
Our research showed that you don't like the word gay, though. You prefer queer?
Well, because gay is kind of inoffensive, and that's how we're kind of often portrayed in movies or in soap operas, that we're kind of inoffensive, sexless little things that make people laugh. And there's obviously more to it than that.
What does queer mean to you?
Queer means off-centre, odd. I think most people fall under that category, regardless of their sexuality. I think most people are very complex and very odd. And the older I get and the more people I meet, the more I learn, I begin to realise that everyone's a little bit crazy.
You're probably right about that. Do you think being gay is genetic or environmental, or how does one become gay or is gay or what have you?
Well, my opinion is quite shocking to a lot of gay people, because I believe you choose your sexuality. I think that most people are born with dual sexuality, and I think you choose. I guess it depends on how you react to your upbringing. I grew up in a very dysfunctional family, and I think that part of my sexuality was a reaction against my father.
Your father, as I understand it, was quite tough, brutal. There were prize fighters in the family. It was a very macho kind of household. That's your father there?
Yes.
Very handsome man. And your mother?
That's my mum, yeah, and that's me on a lap.
Okay. Now, at that age, you hadn't made a choice yet to be...
Well, I guess spiritually I had.
Spiritually you had.
Well, I believe that you choose the life that you lead. I don't believe in accidents. I think you actually choose.
So you say that anybody who out there right now who's watching this show who is gay could get up tomorrow and choose to be straight?
No, not necessarily. But, society as such encouraged you to go one way.
Didn't they give you a football when you were a kid? In America, they give all little boy babies footballs and all little girl babies dolls.
Well, that's the problem, you see. People think it's that simple. You give a girl a doll and a washing up bowl. You give a boy a football and a gun. But life isn't that simple. And we're seeing more and more now in this generation that isn't working for people. Men are becoming much more emotional. I mean, that was something that my father's generation didn't have. They rolled up their sleeves, they went out and got the bacon. They didn't deal with feelings.
They didn't cry.
Well, they just didn't express emotion.
Did your father express... Well, he expressed anger because he beat you children, right?
Well, anger is very often a way of expressing emotion, suppressed emotion. My father, I think, is a very intelligent man. A lot of people from my father's generation are very bright people, but they had to suppress their intellect to go out and earn money. They couldn't be creative. They couldn't be emotional. They had to... my father had to feed 6 kids. So I see now, as I've got older, that I know him better. I see how intelligent and how talented he is. But
how does he feel about you?
My father's very proud of me now.
Yes.
I mean, obviously, when I was 16, he saw me as a very cantankerous, rebellious brat, I suppose.
How old were you when he found out you were gay?
16.
How did he react to that news?
My dad was amazing, actually, because I really did think he was going to kill me. And in fact, he did the opposite. Put his arms around me and he said, "I love you. regardless. I mean, I don't think he was overjoyed about it, but he realized that that was what it was.
Did he or your mother do anything wrong to make you gay, or was that because that's a common feeling of parents who have gay children?
Well, they say that if you do certain things, you can make a child gay, but then I was brought up by straight people, so that doesn't make sense. There's people who say, you know, I mean, obviously, I think it is social, it's emotional, it's everything. I don't think it's one thing that makes a person choose their sexuality. You know, some kids, I suppose, conform, and some don't. And that doesn't necessarily mean that they choose to be gay. There are plenty of straight people who are not conforming.
Isn't one of the problems with being gay that you can't have children?
Well, it's not a problem for me. My brothers have children. I have several nieces and nephews. I'm a good uncle, and that's fine for me. I mean, I don't think I'm responsible enough to have children. I think if you have kids, you have to really be there. And my lifestyle is just not suitable for children at all.
Did you hate your father for beating you?
I think I did at the time. Yeah, definitely, but not now.
How about your mother? How do you feel about her?
I love my mother. I think my mother is a saint. I think most women are saints, you know, women of that generation who were basically, you know, chief cook and bottle washers. They did all the hard work and they got very little reward for it. So I see my mother as a kind of suffragette, as a real saint. I love her dearly.
When you dream at night, do you dream as a macho man or as a gay man or as a woman?
I really don't know how
Do
to
you
answer
ever
that
put
question.
yourself... No, I mean, do you have dreams like you're John Wayne, or do you have dreams that you're
RuPaul.
Katharine Hepburn? Or
No, my dreams are much more dark and mysterious than that.
Oh, okay.
I have sorts of weird dreams, you know, but not dreams about Katharine Hepburn or RuPaul or John Wayne.
Or John Wayne.
No.
If you had to pick one of those you were going to be, which one would you pick? If you had to pick somebody and they said, these are your three choices, pal, pick one.
I guess Katharine Hepburn.
You would? Why?
Well, I think that decade was a very glamorous decade. And she seemed to have a pretty good life. She had a nice pool. That'll do, you know.
That's like wanting to be president because he gets to fly in a big plane.
Well, you know, I love all those movies. I mean, I love that period in history.
How deep are you? Are you pretty surface, or you strike me as there's a lot more going on underneath? Do you read much? What do you...
I think the thing I enjoy most is conversation. You know, I like to talk with intelligent people. I like to argue. I enjoy a good argument. So long as it doesn't turn into a kind of power game where somebody's trying to put someone else down. I like arguments that are free-flowing. And I think I have very good friends in my life who are intelligent, who will debate with me, disagree with me, point out when I'm being an... Can I say that word? Point out when I'm being wrong. You know,
You'll
because
cut half of it, but that's...
You know, in this business, you are fawned over, you are preened over. People put you on a pedestal, they puff you up. So it's good to have people around you who will bring you down to earth. And my family have always been good for that. You know, at the height of my success, they were always there to remind me that I was just George.
Your love relationships with men, however, appeared in the book, at least from just glancing through it, to be somewhat abusive. Were you looking for somebody to replace your father who abused you?
I think that's true of all people who've grown up in dysfunctional families. You know, a lot of girls who've had violent fathers end up with men who beat them. I mean, that's historical and factual. So I think that what it is that when you grow up around a lot of arguing, you tend to associate that with love. You think that if you're in a relationship where you fight with somebody, you're actually having passion. And obviously, now, at 34, I realise that isn't the ticket.
Have you had sex with a woman?
No, I've...
Ever?
No, I haven't had full sex with a woman in my life. No, never. Have you?
Yes. Would you like to?
There is a part of me who would like to, because I feel that... Are you going to bring someone in?
No. I'm not going to make you do it right here, but we will be right back right after these messages. We'll pick up after that. Okay. Welcome back. We're talking with one of the 7 wonders of the music business. Don't ask me who the other 6 are. Boy George is our guest, and you missed it during the break. He had sex with a woman. No,
And lived.
And lived. There's a joke about that. The gay guy does that, and to have a child, and he doesn't. The woman doesn't get pregnant. He says, "I don't want to have to go through that again. I'm not going to do it."
I'm sure it's not that bad.
Yeah. Have you ever thought about it?
Yeah, I mean, I think that sometime during my life, I would like to try it.
Yeah. You said, or you were quoted as saying, I can't say you said, that that Madonna is a gay man trapped in a woman's body. What did you mean by that?
Well, she seems to really understand gay people. She's one of us.
She is gay.
Not necessarily that she's gay, but that she has a kind of gay sensibility. She seems to really click with gay people. I mean, her audience is largely homosexual, and she seems very comfortable with that. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what makes gay people love her, because she is the kind of fabulous diva, queen.
Is there any difference when you talk about gay sensibility, a gay woman and a gay man in terms of how they view the world? I mean,
I think that there is definitely a difference. I think gay men probably take more from their mothers, and gay women probably take more from their fathers, although they'd be loath to admit that. Mm-hmm. But we are very different. There is a real difference. Mm-hmm. I do believe that to be true.
Your career kind of got off track for a while. By the way, I want to mention here, he's got a new CD out. Put it up on the screen, called Cheapness and Beauty. I've dated a couple like that, Cheapness and Beauty, in the old days. But your music got off the track. You got off the track with drugs.
Yeah.
What year did you hit the bottom on drugs? When were you really in real trouble?
Around about 1986, towards the end of 1986 was when it really got bad.
Now, you did what most people do in the beginning. You take a little marijuana and so on, and then somebody led you down the path and got you some heavier duty stuff. What were you doing at the worst of your life?
I was doing heroin. I was doing everything. I mean, when you get to a certain stage, it's anything. Pills, alcohol, whatever.
Was it called? What was the habit costing you at the peak?
Well, it was exaggerated slightly in the newspapers, and they said it was £800 a day, which is physically impossible. But it was up to 1,000, 1,500 a week at least.
Why did you do it? I mean, you had to know drugs. Do you want to destroy yourself, or did you want to at that time? Because you had to know it would do that to you eventually.
I think there was a part of me, maybe subconsciously, that wanted to destroy myself. And I don't fully understand why. Writing this book has helped me understand a little bit of it. As I said before, I grew up in a dysfunctional family, and I think that I was very insecure. And when I got successful, I guess I thought being famous would be like being loved. I thought I'd be really fulfilled. And once I got there, I felt as empty as I did before. And I think what I've realized in the last 5 years is that nothing outside of yourself can make you feel whole. You have to find a way of really loving yourself, which is a cliche, but it's very true.
How did you go about that? Are you a religious person or not? You grew up O'Dowd, a good Irish Catholic family? I'm
not, when we were kids, we went to Sunday school. We had pictures of Jesus and the Pope in our house next to one of Muhammad Ali. But it really, for the most part of my life, I was an atheist. I used to say I didn't believe in God. I was very uncomfortable with any kind of authority figure. Then about 6 years ago, I met a Hare Krishna guy in New York, of all places, who introduced me to a kind of Indian spirituality. And that has really led me to explore and read lots of different books, the Bible, bits of stuff about Islam, Buddhist philosophy.
Did you ever, at the depth of your drug habit, did you ever pray to God to get you out of it?
I don't think I did, but I think my mother did. My mother said if I recovered, she'd go back to church. And she kept her word.
She did?
She goes
Do
regularly.
you think her praying had anything to do with you recovering and getting out of drugs?
Absolutely. I really do believe in the power of prayer. And I do believe, because, you're focusing on something that you really care about. So I do believe in the energy of thought. I think what you say and what you do and what you think is very important. So in that way, yes, I do believe in prayers.
What kind of a student were you? Were you wrapped up in show business from an early age, or did you want to be or do something else with your life?
I never really was very interested in school. I didn't fit in. I had too much personality. I was too needy. So I really got singled out as a troublemaker, and I didn't really get much of an education. But I have to be honest and say that I didn't want to be there. And as soon as I could get out of there, I did. I guess I always knew I wanted to sing. I wanted to perform. Anything but do a kind of 9-to-5 regular job.
Are you clean from drugs now?
Absolutely.
How long have you been clean?
9 years.
9 years. Could anything get you back into it? What if you started to feel insecure? What if your career went in the dumper? What if? And somebody said, hey, how about a line of coke tonight?
No. I mean, people do offer me drugs, you know.
Why are so many people in the music business into it? That seems to me a very weak personality trait to want to do that.
I think a lot of people in our business, in entertainment, not just music, are very insecure people. And that's part of the reason why they want to be famous, because they want people to like them. And as I said before, very often when you get to that peak, you're surrounded by very fake, false people. So you end up feeling even more insecure. So what do? You take drugs, you drink, whatever.
Okay, I've got to interrupt you again. We're with Boy George. We'll be right back after this. Sorry. With Boy George. That CD is called Cheapness and Beauty. It's out now, and you can pick it up in the book. I don't know. I guess the cover of the book. This is like an insert over the overlay over the thing. The actual thing. Yeah. Now come back to me for a second on this. Whoops. There. See, there's the actual title, The Autobiography of Boy George. Where'd you get the Boy George? Where'd they start calling you Boy George?
In the beginning, when we did the first
Culture Club.
Yeah, first photos of the Culture Club, everybody kept saying, "Who's the girl?" Because the pictures were so girly. So it just became a joke within the band, and I called myself Boy George as a kind of play on words.
If you want to be hidden from the public, do you go out as a guy? I mean, do you not wear the makeup and everything? You go out and you kind of put on you go out and look macho, or what do you do?
I can look very normal.
You
and
can.
I get about, I mean, I walk around New York all the time, and in London I ride the bus and the subway. And, people do recognize me, but by the time they've worked out if it's me or not, I'm gone.
Yeah.
I avoid eye contact, I walk fast.
Yeah.
There are methods. I mean, you learn ways to get around. I mean, I don't like the idea of being prisoner. So I walk around and I'll take off all my gear and put on a pair of sweats and a scruffy jacket and I'm out there,
Yeah. We have some calls here from our viewers that came in on email. Sully Anastasia of Geneva, New York asks, does your mother approve of your lifestyle?
I think my mother's happier now that I'm...
She's a little disappointed is what I'm hearing in your voice.
No, not at
No?
all. No.
Oh.
I mean, she, obviously when I was going through all the stuff with drugs and everything, she was very disappointed. Mm-hmm. But now she's much happier and we get on fantastic now. I mean, it's better than it's ever been. And actually the book has really, really helped our relationship because she read a lot of things that she never knew.
Really?
So that was really like a big thing for her.
Okay, we have an email in here from Lance Bean from Cheyenne, Wyoming. Why did you dress like a woman in the Culture Club?
Well, as I said before, I never really thought of myself as dressing like a woman. I never wore breasts. I just wore kind of androgynous, baggy clothes. It was more
You
about...
wore makeup.
I wore makeup, but, if a woman had worn a suit 50, 60 years ago, she would have been called a dyke. Now women wear suits as part of the course. But there was a time when that kind of dress was considered absolutely outrageous. Mm-hmm. So who's to say what's male and female?
Okay, we've got one here from Ben Mosley in Anchorage, Alaska, who asks, how does the AIDS crisis affect your life? And have you lost many friends to AIDS?
I have lost a lot of friends to AIDS. As far as my own life is concerned, I've been in a relationship for 9 years. Prior to that, I was in a relationship for 7 years. I'm a pretty monogamous person, and I'm very, very careful. I don't go around sleeping with everybody I meet.
You did mention that in the book, though, that homosexuals are certainly lust-driven creatures. A lot of our sex is casual and impersonal in the time of AIDS. Are you worried about that?
Well, to answer that question, we're not encouraged to be who we are from the age of, like straight kids, they're encouraged to, be straight. We're not encouraged to be gay. So I think a large part of our emotions are denied. So a lot of us are very uncomfortable with relationships. And society has to take responsibility for that.
One of the reasons that the people give for not wanting gays in the military in the United States is exactly this statement, that they're into casual relationships and impersonal sex, and put in a military situation, that kind of lust-driven behavior, if you will, would be very difficult.
What's the difference between straight men wanting to go after girls and gay men
Well,
wanting to go
there are
after
not
men?
too many girls out there in the foxholes. So
To be honest with you, I would never want to be in the army. I have no desire to be in the military, not in 1,100 years. I have no desire, so it's not something that I care about. I really just would not want to be.
So you think it's a good idea? Let me ask you.
I think people should have a choice to do what they want to do, and there are plenty of homosexuals in the military already, as there are firemen and policemen and all sorts of things.
They just don't come out.
Well, some do and some don't. But there's this kind of tradition, in sort of normal society that you can be what you want to be as long as you don't discuss it, which I think is kind of retarded.
Is AIDS a behavioral disease? In other words, if you stopped certain types of behavior, it wouldn't spread.
No, I don't think it is. I think that, if you are somebody going around, whether you're straight or gay, if you are going around having casual sex without protecting yourself, then at some level you're not valuing your life. And I think that stretches across the board.
But cancer, you can't help it if you get cancer. You can't help it if you get heart disease. You can help it if you get AIDS. Is that correct?
I think that there are times when it's accidental.
In blood transfusion.
Or, can be a young kid who sleeps with a guy for the first time, someone she's in love with, trusting, can be a boy thing. Accidents do happen, but I think if you are somebody going out willfully, night after night, meeting people in clubs and taking that risk, then I guess it isn't avoidable. But I mean, the important thing is that it's not just a gay disease. There are children with it, there are women with it, drug addicts, all sorts of people get it.
I think you've already answered this one, but Stuart Feldman from Boston, Mass., do you consider yourself a man or a woman?
Well, I'm more of a man than you'll ever be and more of a woman than you'll ever get.
You hear that, Stuart? Buzz off, Stuart. What's your favorite song that you ever recorded? This is from Ben Mosley. I don't know where he's from, but Anchorage, Alaska. That's the second part. What's the favorite song you ever recorded?
I think my favorite song probably would be Victims off the second Culture Club album.
Is your best work ahead of you, and how have you changed in terms of your singing and choosing material and that sort of thing?
I think that this new album is very different to what I did with Culture Club, so there'll be a lot of people who won't be into it. But hopefully I'll open myself up to a whole new load of fans. Obviously, people like to keep you in a box. They like you to do something that they're familiar with. And for me as a creative person, I find that too stifling. I have to do what I want to do.
Do gay men or can gay men have guy relationships that are non-involved? I mean, in other words, like
Absolutely.
They don't fall in love, or just like looking at a woman, you don't fall in love with everyone. Do you have that? Or
Oh, lots.
Yeah.
My brothers.
Your brother, but you grew up sleeping with your brothers, didn't you?
Well, I didn't have sex with them, though.
Oh, yeah. But I mean, you had a father who beat the hell out of you, and you slept with 3 brothers. I mean, do you think this had any influence on the fact that you needed men around you?
That's such a sort of normal, simplistic thing to say.
Yeah, I'm curious. I mean, it just is odd that...
No, I don't think it's odd at all.
No?
I think it's out of your comprehension, but I don't think it's odd. I mean,
So that had no influence. Your home life had no influence on you being gay?
I don't think you can really say it's one thing.
Okay.
I just don't think you can. I mean, people want simple answers to drug abuse. They want simple answers to social problems. And I don't think there are any.
So the government programs are really probably, what, a waste of money?
No, they're not a waste of money, but I think very often they look at the symptoms without looking at the cause. It's very easy to get someone off drugs, but you have to find out why they're doing them in the first place.
Why were you doing it? Insecurity is what you said. You felt you were insecure?
Well, I think that, you know, there are a lot of families in this world who really don't have time for their kids. You know, they're out. A lot of kids in America particularly are educated by the TV. So that is where they get their culture. And I think America is far more of a TV culture than England. And there are kids who, you know, their mothers are out working, their fathers are out working. There really isn't a relationship within the family. And that is a big social problem because community is the most essential thing. You know, families sticking together, caring about each other, supporting each other, and parents loving their children regardless of whether they're gay or straight, disabled, fat, ugly, big-nosed, whatever it may be, giving them love and giving them support, regardless of what their sexuality is. And that's the problem that we have.
I think that's a good note to end on. Cheapness and Beauty is the name of the CD, but here's the book, The Autobiography of Boy George. You can get it, and it's out now. It's packaged beautifully. George, I appreciate your candor in coming on the show.
Cheers, I enjoyed it.
Thank you very much. Okay, we're going to take a sharp turn here. A gentleman who has given us many hours of quality television, William F. Buckley. Stay with us.